When I was 13, my mother sent me off alone to live in a country thousands of miles away, where I did not even speak the language. Welcome to AskTetsu, where we unlock the world's opportunities for our children by teaching them languages. My name is Tetsu. I've been raised in many languages myself, and today I'm raising my 4 kids in 5 languages. If you are new here, I urge you to subscribe and follow our kids' language development journey. Today, July 20th, is my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom! So I thought today I'd talk about her master plan to prepare me for the key event that would change my life forever at age 13. So let's start from the beginning. I must have been 5 or 6 years old. My parents and I were living in Taiwan in a dinky little apartment near the university where my mom taught Japanese and where I attended the university-run daycare center. One day she sat me down for a discussion. "Te-chan, soon you will leave the university daycare to attend the new kindergarten. Yay! Yay! You will make new friends there, and many of them look like those kids on the American TV shows. Yay! Yeah! And everybody there speaks English. Yay! No, but I don't speak English. How can I talk to them? Oh, don't worry. You'll learn very quickly. You already speak other languages. It's only one more. There's a big playground and basketball courts and a huge jungle gym. I'm going! She was sending me to an American school in Taipei, and this was the start of her multi-year project to prepare me for the global stage. You see, Taiwan was and continues to be a politically and economically unstable country due to its delicate relationship with China. So, by sending me to an American school, she not only wanted me to equip me with English, but also a global mindset and culture, so that if, or should I say when, I go live abroad, I will have the best chance of adapting to foreign ways of life. But of course, little old me didn't know anything about her grand schemes. All I remember of the months leading up to my first day at the new school were moments of excitement for the new environment mixed with spurts of anxiety, where I'd be asking my parents constantly if the kids there spoke even a little bit of Mandarin, as if it was a negotiable thing. My father brought me to the school that first day. He opened the classroom door and pushed me in first. There were maybe 8 kids or so, and to my relief, 2 of them looked like they were Taiwanese, but the other ones looked nothing like me. White skin, brown skin, blonde hair, curly hair, blue eyes, you name it. A little blonde girl came out from behind the teacher and walked right up to me. After staring into each other's eyes for a short moment, a flurry of totally unrecognizable sounds flowed right out of her mouth at what seemed to be like 100 miles an hour. She then quickly took my hand and brought me to the other kids, and in a matter of minutes, I was having so much fun that I didn't even notice that my father had already left. Needless to say, the integration was very smooth, but this had been my mother's strategy all along. In order not to make a big event turn into a traumatic experience, you should not make it a surprise. Before day 1 at my new school, my mother had prepared me over many months, talking to me about the new environment and constantly encouraging me. So by the time the big change came along, I pretty much knew everything I needed. And I was reassured that I would quickly learn the rest. And that was exactly what happened. Before long, I was speaking English like I was born with it. Fast forward a few years. I must have been in 4th grade when my mother sat me down for another discussion. "Do you know you have an aunt living in Canada?" "No." "Well, your father's youngest sister married a Canadian and have been living there for a long time. Now she has offered to take care of you during high school. Yay!" I immediately recognized this enthusiasm. And honestly, it did sound pretty cool. I knew where Canada was. And in fact, some of my classmates were Canadian. "In Canada, you can play so many sports like skating, like ice hockey, and the ski hill's right there. I'm going! Oh, by the way, it's in Quebec, so they speak French. And thus begins the next round of preparations for the bigger stage, the global stage. I think when most parents think about preparing their child to study abroad, much of their thoughts center around academics and language. While these are obviously very important for my parents also, something else was even more pressing. My mother was much more keen on developing my inner strength and sense of independence so that I could do things on my own and not have to rely on others everywhere I go. So as part of my independence training, I had many responsibilities as a child. I got up at 5:30 a.m. every morning to clean the yard with my dad, to feed the dogs, and on weekends I'd vacuum the house. And I even had a garden where I grew vegetables for the family. Also, I knew all the railway and bus lines like the back of my hand, so I was not at all confined to my bus route, but rather went pretty much wherever my heart desired. My mother even trained me to fly solo since I was in first grade, so I would go visit my relatives in Japan every summer by myself. Another very important part of my independence training was financial responsibility. As a little kid, I didn't just get pocket money for candies. My mother gave me a tight monthly budget from which I had to pay for public transport, food, school supplies, etc. I always got a lump sum at the beginning of the month, but I had to fight all the temptations to splurge on candies, as I had to figure out a way to make the money last to the end of the month. Clearly, the financial wisdom that I acquired in those days still served me very well today. I also remember those years of my independence training to be years during which I saw very little of my parents. We all left early in the morning, but my mother would usually come back last, often past 10 at night. She was working literally all the time. And it's no wonder, because tuition at my American school was literally breaking the bank. But by this time, all of our extended family members, who originally thought my mother was out of her mind to send me to such an expensive school, now fully understand what she wanted for me. And they were all supporting her by taking turns caring for me so that she could continue to work and work and work. During the last few months of 6th grade, I remember often getting very anxious. Yes, I was excited and looking forward to the new adventure. But a part of me also could have very well just stayed back in my lovely Taiwan, surrounded by wonderful family and friends. I was also very sad to leave my dogs behind. It may sound trivial now, but in those days, to a 13-year-old, it was extremely difficult, especially since I knew I would never see them again. Then the time finally came for me to go to Canada. Mom and I arrived at my aunt's home on August 4th, 1987. Everything was pretty much as I had imagined, and more. To my surprise, my aunt even had a pool. And I immediately bonded with my 3 cousins who were all right around my age. And having learned English clearly softened the culture shock, as most people here were able to speak at least a basic level of English. At the same time, my cousins also helped me a lot to learn French as quickly as possible. This significantly sped up my integration into the local community. My mother stayed with us for a couple of days before going back to the daily grind in Taiwan. Today, as a parent, I think about how she must have felt bittersweet during those few days. On the one hand, I'm sure she savored the success of her multi-year independence training program as she witnessed her son react very positively to the new Canadian reality. But at the same time, it must have been heart-wrenching for her to face her own new reality, one in which her son will no longer be living with her. But in the end, everything she had done was right. We all loved the positive things that Canada had brought into our lives, and 9 years after I arrived in Canada, my whole family would become landed immigrants. Later, I would get married to a Japanese girl, have 4 kids with her, and now we are 3 generations living under the same roof. Today, my mother's lessons live on, as I now play my part as a parent to lay down the foundations for my children's future success. Thank you, Mom, for all that you have done for me. I hope you are enjoying the fruits of your efforts that you had started over 40 years ago. Happy birthday! Please stay healthy.